Hello and welcome to our South Week virtual presentation. Sadly, as we all know again, there will be no normal South Week this year due to COVID-19. The committee's main concern is keeping people safe, and our thoughts are with everyone who was affected by this terrible virus. Not just health-wise, but also the many businesses who have suffered. We would like to pay tribute to all NHS staff, carers and the many volunteers from Kelso who have stepped forward and supported the community during this very difficult time. So very well done. We are now starting to see real progress and things start to slowly get back to normal, and we can all look forward to next year and a summer of border festivals, and in particular Kelso Civic Week. The committee are putting on more virtual events this year after the success of last year, so please check our website and Facebook pages and please take part where you can. I would like to thank everyone who has helped with these videos, both taking part and in the production, as it takes a lot of work, so well done. We are very lucky to have great patrons and sponsors who support us every year, and your help is greatly appreciated. To Jimmy Hennigan and Stephen Scott, our 50th and 25th Kelso laddies, congratulations, and I am sure you will manage to celebrate in some way during South Week. And remember some of the great times you had from your terms in office and the many friends you have made for life. To everyone, please try and support the events we have planned, and please just try and support our town and our businesses who normally rely heavily on a successful South Week and have had a very difficult year. We have a very hard-working and dedicated South Week committee who are very hard, and I'm sure we will back next year with a normal South Week. I hope you all have a great week and you can finally start to enjoy things as normal again very soon. Safe week, safe end.
Kelso Civic Week is the high point of the summer in this town, but for the second year in succession, it can't happen. Once again, the scourge of the coronavirus pandemic has laid waste the Kelso event along with all the other similar events across the Scottish borders. But a mere global pandemic cannot stop the town from feeling proud of its heritage, and a greatly reduced calendar of events will still mark the week this year. Kelso Civic Week is quite young by comparison with the common ridings of some of the older ceremonies, when the boundaries of a town's common lands where townsfolk could graze their livestock had to be clearly marked each year to prevent rapacious landowners from taking the land for themselves. Like the other towns, usually Kelso has an annual calendar of rideouts which incorporate a tribute to the men who once made their livings from the use of horses on the land, as ploughmen and farm servants, and as carters to haul goods in the Whitman's Ride. But in the second year of the pandemic, such rideouts are again out of the question. However, that will not stop the Kelso laddie Mark Henderson from carrying out one of his most solemn and poignant duties, laying a wreath at the Kelso War Memorial to honour all the men and women of the town who marched away to war and did not return. In this second COVID year, he's joined by the 25-year laddie Stephen Scott and the 50-year laddie Jimmy Hennigan. Our forefathers were far-sighted enough to invest in one of the finest war memorials in any small town in Scotland. Paid for by a public subscription of £4,000, £125,000 in 2021 values following the losses in the First World War, it was designed by Scotland's preeminent memorial designer Sir Robert Lorimer, the designer of the Scottish National War Memorial at Edinburgh Castle. Embedded within its central column is the figure of good overcoming evil in the form of St. George slaying a dragon, created by Charles Pilkington Jackson, the sculptor who also worked on the National War Memorial and on the statue of King Robert the Bruce at Bannockburn. The Kelso Memorial was unveiled by His Grace the Duke of Roxburgh on the 25th of September 1921 and contains the names of those men from the town and the surrounding district who fell in the First and later the Second World Wars. The memorial has a special significance in this town, for 42 local men, almost all from the 4th Battalion, the King's Own Scottish Borderers, died in the Gallipoli campaign on the 12th of July 1915. It was a shockingly high loss for a small rural town. Ever since the inception of Kelso Civic Week in 1937, the laying of the wreath at the War Memorial dedicated to the fallen, and in particular to the local men who fell at Gallipoli, has been a major part of Civic Week. In that first Civic Week in 1937, 4 survivors of the Gallipoli campaign stood at the 4 corners of a square marked by 4 wooden crosses, each bearing a Flanders poppy. In turn, crosses were laid to form a St Andrew's cross. The memorial's well cared for locally by members of the Kelso branch of the Royal British Legion Scotland and the Kelso Laddies Association. This year, the Legion has raised the funds to have installed specially commissioned commemorative benches in the gardens around the memorial, and members of Kelso in Bloom look after the flower beds and the grounds, with the aid of Kelso Cubs, who planted 2 of the flower beds, and the Kelso Laddies Association, who sponsored the planting of the tubs. The gardens around the War Memorial also contain a plaque commemorating 3 Polish soldiers who died in training while they were stationed in Kelso during the Second World War. Another plaque on the wall of the gardens behind the memorial acknowledges the welcome the Polish forces received in the town. Also in the gardens is a gravestone similar to those in the Commonwealth War Grave cemeteries around the world, for which Kelso Community Council raised funds to mark the sacrifice of the local men at Gallipoli. The back wall of the gardens also bears a stone commemorating Lieutenant Colonel Donald Farmer, Victoria Cross, a native of Kelso, who won Britain's highest award for gallantry as a sergeant in the 1st Battalion, the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders, during the Second Boer War in South Africa in 1900. And so we stand here again at this hallowed spot in the quiet of a July evening to reflect on what this memorial means to the town and to remember those whose names are inscribed on it and all those who step forward to defend their country and here their homes and their way of life from all who would threaten to change them by force. The words of the town's motto, "De recht, fear not."
By the left, quick, march!
It has been a very strange year yet again. Another 12 months when life has been far from normal. For many people, life has been turned upside down. All have suffered in some way, many in ways far more extreme than others. And so it's fitting that the Kelso Laddie, and that we all, pay our respects to those who have passed over this past year, and to look back with remembrance to those who in other times and in other places have made that ultimate sacrifice. So let us commit ourselves to work for reconciliation between the nations, that all people may live together in freedom and justice and peace. A reading from the Old Testament, from the book of the prophet Isaiah at chapter 40. Those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. So we pray for all who in bereavement and disability and pain continue to suffer the consequences of fighting and terror. But let us remember, they shall grow not old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.